What's going on, you guys? My name's Teena Watson and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 scariest images with disturbing backstories. Number 5. Daniela Poe was a 42-year-old nurse from Italy, known for being an extremely hard-working employee, yet a difficult woman to get along with. She was known for her powerful, controlling personality as well as her vengeance toward others. For example, if a nurse that Daniela didn't like was scheduled to come in for the shift following hers, she would feed her patients large doses of laxatives, leaving the following employee with a large mess to clean up. Though in late 2014, Daniela's behavior got considerably worse. One of her 78-year-old patients passed away, with no real lead-up or explanation regarding what happened. Because of this, an autopsy was performed which revealed that the patient died from a potassium overdose, a vitamin that Daniela was in charge of administering. She was then investigated, at which time police discovered that nearly 50% of all Daniela's patients from the last 3 months had passed away, yet only 15% of other nurses' patients passed away. This obviously raised a red flag for investigators, so their research continued. When police gathered enough condemning evidence to arrest Daniela, they began searching through her personal belongings, including her cell phone. In her photos, they found images that she'd taken of herself posing with the corpses of her deceased patients. In some images, she was giving a thumbs up, while in others, she was mocking the victim's dying expressions. The total victim count of Daniela was soon revealed to be 38, with her receiving life behind bars. Number 4. A young woman known as Maria Hoya passed away in 1931 from a sudden case of tuberculosis. Though leading up to her passing, she sought help from a doctor known as Karl Tanzler. Karl did his best to help treat the woman, though when she was just 21 years old, she passed away. However, there was a bit of a catch to this case. Dr. Karl had actually fallen in love with the girl during his time treating her, and had an exceptionally difficult time letting her go. After she passed away, he offered to pay for her funeral costs and even paid to build a mausoleum in her honor. From this point on, he would visit her grave nightly, pay his respects, and be on his way. However, one evening in 1933, Karl's grief got the better of him, and he devised a plan. He decided to dig up Maria's body and take it home with him. Somehow, he managed to pull this deed off, and no one found out. He then took Maria home, dressed her up, and took care of her corpse for around 8 years. As her body continued to decay, he would either replace her body parts entirely or stitch her corpse back together using wire and wax. In fact, as her face began to decay, he fashioned an entirely new face mask for her out of wax. Karl was known to have slept with Maria most nights, with investigators even finding a tube that had been wedged into her nether regions, presumably so that he could continue having intercourse with her. Karl continued to care for Maria's body until 1940, when he was ultimately exposed by Maria's relatives, at which time he was arrested and sent to trial. However, he managed to get away with his crimes as the statute of limitations had already expired. He remained a free man until his death in 1952. It's said that when police discovered his body, he was found to have been wrapped in the arms of a wax figurine that was made in Maria's image. Number 3. The Beast of Jersey was the name given to a serial child abductor and sexual assailant from the 1960s, who was known to have worn a rubber mask, entered the home of unwitting victims, and assaulted them as they slept. The man, named Edward Pasnell, managed to evade police capture for over 10 years, eventually being captured in 1971 for running a red light. Inside of his car, police noted items that were known to have belonged to the rampant Beast of Jersey, and he was immediately detained. Prior to his arrest, the only photo that locals had of this supposed Beast of Jersey was a horrifying image of one of his masks, which truly looked to have been fashioned out of real human skin, though contrary to popular belief, it was just rubber. Some reports seem to indicate that the Beast of Jersey actually took the lives of about 13 young children, though according to the research we've conducted, this actually isn't true. While he's known to have assaulted at least 13 victims, there were no factual reports of any of these victims dying. Because of this, when Edwards was eventually caught in 1971, he was sentenced to just 30 years in prison, though he passed away about 5 years before his sentence expired at the age of 68. Number 2. Teena Watson was a young newlywed when she passed away unexpectedly during a diving trip with her husband, Gabe. The two were on their honeymoon together when they decided to go diving. The trip was going entirely according to plan, though without any sort of warning, Teena passed away and sank to the ocean floor. By the time the other divers noticed and were able to get to her, she had already passed away due to a loss of oxygen. This report came as a shock to many, as it's unknown how she could have exactly lost oxygen to her mask while being surrounded by other divers. Attention then turned to her husband, Gabe. It was alleged that Gabe may have turned off Teena's oxygen tank while she wasn't looking. Being unaware of this, Teena simply began to pass out without really understanding why. It's then alleged that after she passed away, Gabe turned her oxygen back on, allowing her body to sink to the ocean floor, appearing as though the entire event were completely accidental. However, the only piece of information that truly backs up these allegations is a single photograph, showing Gabe giving his wife a bear hug just moments before she passed away. While at trial though, Gabe had a hard time keeping his story straight, and told conflicting reports of the events leading up to his wife's passing. Eventually, he pled guilty to manslaughter and was given a short prison sentence. Assuming his plea was genuine, many believe that he likely took his wife's life for insurance money, though again these are simply allegations. Gabe was eventually released from prison where he was deported to Alabama. He's since remarried and lives happily. Number 1. In October of 2014, 4 engineers climbed to the top of a windmill for routine maintenance. However, once they arrived, the windmill unexpectedly burst into flames, taking the lives of 2 of the workers. There's very little information about this event available online, as it seems as though for some reason the majority of the news articles covering this story have been removed. However, one Reddit user summarized the event as follows. A crew of 4 was conducting routine maintenance to a 67-meter high turbine. They were in a gondola next to the turbine when the fire broke out. The fire quickly engulfed the only escape route, trapping 2 of the maintenance crew on top of the turbine. One of them jumped down and was found in a field next to the turbine. The other victim was found by a special firefighter team who ascended the turbine when the fire died down a bit. The cause of the fire is unknown, but it's believed to have been a short circuit. Firefighters are fairly powerless to do anything to fires on wind turbines, and due to high maintenance costs, crews have limited means and training to escape an emergency situation. The tragedy has led to political inquiry into the safety precautions for wind turbine maintenance crews. The photo you've seen on screen is believed to have been the final photo taken of the 2 engineers who lost their lives that day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.